Previously on AFTN.
Michael's not dancing as much, and I wonder if it's because there's people actively in the studio.
Well, there is two guys and a glass thing watching me, so that does kind of put off my dancing a tad. I feel that I'm in one of these Amsterdam dance booths and drunk men shove money down your pants. You never done that? That's great fun. Really recommend it. Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of There's Still Time, the AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting from the unceded Musqueam Territory at the University of British Columbia. If you're listening to this show on the podcast, this is episode 255. I'm Michael McCall.
I'm Steve Pender.
And I'm Zachary Adam Eisenheimer.
This is one of my favourite days of the year, I have to say.
This is probably my favorite day of the year.
Cheap Chocolate Eve, as I like to refer to it.
Oh, everything goes on sale tomorrow?
Yeah, all the Easter eggs are on sale tomorrow, half price.
For me, it's the resurrection of Jesus, but, chocolate eggs.
Well, funny you should say that, because the Whitecaps put in very much of an Easter performance yesterday.
Yeah.
Coming back from the dead to see off Columbus Crew and come away with all 3 points. So we'll be talking about that tonight. We're also going to look at the week in MLS Western Conference. Pretty quiet week. There was nothing really making the headlines.
Nothing impactful or anything.
Nothing at all. We'll have a little bit of chat about Canadian Premier League. We'll have a look at how the Whitecaps' wonderful affiliation with Fresno is going in the USL. And does Jordon Mutch fancy a chocolate digestive? That is to come. Folk will be in tenterhooks for that. But we'll kick things off in Columbus. Might be the last time the Whitecaps are ever in Columbus.
Oh, man.
I mean, that was a special occasion. And to mark a special occasion, I've decided to steal something from the preview show, something that Joe Deasy comes up with.
Joe's taking over.
He is. It might come as a bit of a surprise to you too, so we'll see how it goes. He plays a complete the sentence thing in the preview show, so I'm going to kick it off with that. So Joe, I'll like this little hat tip to him. So I'll give you 3 questions and fill in the blanks as you see fit. Number 1. Kai Kamara scoring the winning goal was blank.
Zach, you want to go first?
I was just going to say ironic.
Oh.
I was going to say refreshing.
Oh. I was going to say fitting.
Yeah, this is not as good as when Joe...
No, it isn't, because they come up with clever stuff. We'll be clever as we go on.
Okay. It's their game. They should be more clever than us.
Let's see how the next two go.
We'll see how the next 2 questions go. But no, I mean, Kamara scoring after what he said in the build-up this week about no love for Columbus. And
yeah, I find it refreshing because the fact that you were so down after Alphonso Davies' goal was disallowed.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like spring coming up again because Kamara was able to score. So that's why I feel it was refreshing.
Yeah. Okay, question 2. If Breck Shea was a breakfast dish, he would be...
Scrambled eggs.
Oh, and why?
I don't know. That's just the first thing that came to mind.
Ah.
He's hungry, obviously. I would say oatmeal with some fruit in it.
Because that's kind of wacky and zany?
No, because it's kind of like you're not expecting much out of it, but then you get that piece of fruit. And it really, kicks it up a notch.
I'm going to go with black pudding because it just comes back at you again and again. If you've ever had black pudding, it really gives you quite bad acid reflux sometimes. So. I don't think we'll do this again. But we'll finish it off with question 3.
I don't have it. What's so wrong with it?
He doesn't listen to Joe's. And knows
It's much better?
Yeah. It's just a little bit better.
Okay, last one of this. Whenever the Whitecaps face a VAR decision, I feel blank.
Violated.
That's a good one. I think that's what the V stands for.
I feel fetal position-ish.
Oh, that's a good one as well. I just feel the worst coming. It's just... You
feel dread?
Yeah. At least Elfath wasn't in charge of the match, but he did have an impact, as we'll talk about when we do the MLS games, with another bizarre VAR decision. But let's get into the Columbus game. It was your proverbial game of two halves. The first half, I mean, it lacked a lot of excitement. I had that on the telly. I had the LA game on my laptop, and I was way more drawn to the LA game, the derby, I've got to say.
Okay, what was up with TSN? TSN breaking away to show that was like the worst thing.
They've done that before.
Teasing it as well, and then not showing it for ages.
No, that was annoying because I watched the game after. Yeah. So every time, they didn't show all the highlights, but they showed too many of them. And like not just at the half or at the end of the game.
It was an eventful game.
They're like, the ball's gone out of play. Let us show you the latest goal that's happening over in LA.
Because we know everyone would rather be watching this game, but unfortunately,
they knew it was live. They knew it was live across Canada on Fox. Like this wasn't like an unattainable game.
Oh, was it?
I had no idea.
It was live. It was live on the main Fox network. It wasn't like Fox Sports or ESPN.
I would have watched it, or at least recorded it.
Yeah,
I recorded it and watched it after.
Yeah, if I'd known that, I'd have recorded it or recorded the Whitecaps game. But, yeah, I mean, the first half did lack excitement, but it was a great turnaround in the second half. Robbo mentioned that he gave them a bit of a poke at half time. Not sure if it was up somewhere with a red hot poker.
I was going to say, could you translate poke from Welsh into Canadian?
Well, I think he's been to Hawaii, so I think it was poke. Or I don't know, is it poke? Who knows? But what was your general thoughts coming out of the match before we delve into it, and how did you feel about the character shown by the team?
Yeah, it was a great away match. It's 2 out of 3 great away matches. I think the performance.
The third one doesn't count because
so they're 2 for 2, right? 2 for 2. Yeah. So both games.
That game still has to be replayed.
Results were great. And this time, I think the performance in the first half left a lot to be desired. But the performance in the second half, I think, more than made up for it and made it feel like a better match than the Houston match.
Yeah, I mean, I've come away from that game thinking, that was a fantastic game, completely forgetting how bored I was at halftime.
Well, just go on social media, look around, and you'll see lots of people.
Well, I thought the game started at 12:30, so I missed the first 23 minutes.
Oh, you're lucky.
I realized that because I watched it afterwards, and I realized how lucky I was.
Yeah, see, I did not watch all of the first half live either because I had some family stuff going on, and so I joined in the latter portion of the first half, so I didn't get the live negative vibe that everyone else did.
thought, I agree that they deserved to get poked, as you said it.
Yes.
But and it showed that the poking worked because I think we're saying too much poking. Because they really like pushed the ball and moved the ball around a little bit better. Yeah, obviously possession didn't show it. Overall in possession, there was only 2 5-minute intervals where they had the better possession. So that didn't really work that way. But they were
dominating.
They were moving around a little bit more, and they were lessening the danger that Columbus was providing.
Columbus was dominating, but they weren't creating that.
They were better in the first half.
Dangerous.
There was no threat at all from them.
They were better in the first half. The second half, the chances kind of dwindled for them.
I mean, the only real, like, Higuain had a chance early on that he blasted over when he should have done better.
Right.
Santos had the shot that hit off Kendall and kind of went wide.
Thank you, Kendall. And
you would have thought that would have maybe given them a message of, we probably shouldn't let that guy shoot. He seems to like to shoot from distance. But then he tried it again 6-7 minutes later. That was a howler from Marinovic. You cannot... I think that was his April Fool before April Fool.
Yeah,
if you haven't seen the Whitecaps website, there's a great April Fool up on Stephen today.
On who?
Stephen Marinovic. Have you not seen the April Fool?
No, I have not watched.
Okay.
Then you need to watch it.
Okay. No, yeah. Obviously, Stefan would file that under the category of things I'd like to have back.
Yes. Like the one down in Portland.
Right.
In the last game of last season.
Right.
Not that I remember, or I'm casting this up to him. But
I feel the defenders should have been a little bit more moving around. So they were instead of staying spot.
I watched it again because initially I thought, Nerwinski maybe should have done better. But then when you watched it again, he couldn't have moved in because all Santos would have done would have been played the ball out left. And I think Aha and I think it was De Jong were just caught by surprise because they just didn't think Marinovic was going to spill it.
Yeah. But you can't assume that every time.
Yeah, you can't. No. You can't stop. The one thing is, it's 5 games in, and this is the first clear and obvious error or large, costly error, but it didn't cost 3 points.
No, and all the Usted lovers will no doubt jump on Steph. I haven't seen if that was the case, but I imagine that there's a few of them that will have been like, Usted would have held on to that. Which, I mean, we've seen Usted make fumbles like that as well. Every keeper does it.
Yeah.
It just mattered whether it cost him or not, and it didn't cost him today.
Now,
yesterday.
Cap's best chance in the first half fell to Aha just before half-time. Nice free kick, got his head on it, saved on the goal line by Stefan. Not our Stefan, but the other Stefan. It's going to get confusing. 2 goalkeepers called Stefan.
You want to stay with Stephen? You want to stay with Stephen?
Yeah, we'll say Stephen. Turned on at the post, but the flag had gone up for offside on Shea. If that had gone in, I wonder if VAR would have reviewed it and said, well, he wasn't offside, so it wasn't really an offside because it was given on Shea that was offside. Or
you would hope.
Yeah.
You would hope, but I mean, who knows? We don't really get a lot of good VAR decisions going our way.
The thing, I may have mentioned this now, I was, you got to hold up your hand when you get something, you're outright, you get something off. I was wrong. I really thought Aaron Mon should have played, and I thought did a great job.
Yeah. I mean, we'll cover how the defence did in part 2, but he did. I mean, he did excellent. But the turnaround at half-time, as we said, Robo gave them a poke. It's like the hairdryer treatment, but in Welsh. They don't really have hairdryers in Wales. They just use pokes.
Who scored the goal for Columbus? Your favourite player?
Jizzy Zardes. Just all over the Whitecaps.
The Blade.
The Blade? Is that what we're calling him?
Oh, what's that movie? The Blade.
Blade the Vampire Hunter?
Yeah, he's got the similar...
You don't have to call him the Blade. He's just a Blade.
Oh, okay.
Wesley Snipes in Marvel's Blade.
I thought the Blade was something like Zorro.
There's Blade 2 and Blade Trinity.
Where the Z was going in. If he had stayed in LA and had partnered Zlatan up front, you could have had ZZ top. I mean, that was made.
ZZ on top, yeah, that would have been easy. Yeah,
I mean, that would have been fantastic. Anyway, second half.
Someone should have been all over that and avoided that trade.
Road Warrior, Breck Shea, another goal on the road. His 6th MLS goal as a Whitecap, 28 appearances, 16 starts, 6 goals. That's DP quality to me. Scored the winner, well, it's better than Octavio Rivera's record. Anyway, and on half the salary, I think. Scored the winner at Houston. Got the opener in this. 5 of those 6 goals have come on the road. What is it about him that is making him so deadly on the road? Is it just no one expects the Spanish Inquisition?
Or maybe he wants to just show off for the opposing fans, so they asked to acquire him. Because he wants out of Vancouver.
Oh, maybe.
No,
well, he definitely,
he
definitely was trying to win over the Columbus fans big time. Lovely little celebration, lifting his shirt to point to his Texas tattoo. I can't think what that was about. Then,
I couldn't see it. There was not an angle on there.
No, I didn't know what it was, but I read that someone had said he was pointing at his Texas tattoo. Which I just think is class trolling.
Yeah.
And then he was getting abuse.
Was he pointing at Austin itself on the...
Oh, that would be even better. He knew exactly where Austin was on that tattoo. But then he had been getting abused during the match. Folk were telling him he sucked and stuff from what I can gather from reading
like you
Twitter
always
timelines.
do with the opposing team.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you do to the opposing team. So he shouted back at them, which I thought was excellent. Enjoy not having a team next season. Now... I have no problem with that whatsoever. If you are giving abuse at a player and he comes back with something witty like that, you just applaud that. Great heel work ahead of the best wrestling weekend that is coming up.
But we're still in the Save the Crew camp, just for the record. I am.
Yes.
We'll get to that. But.
Yeah, we will come to Save the Crew in part 2, but as much as you want to Save the Crew, that was classic trolling and great heel work by Breck Shea. I can't knock him for that. I'm pretty sure some folk will.
I do wonder about the home versus away. I do wonder if he feels less pressure or something. Now, I don't think he feels pressure to begin with in some sense, but you just wonder, like, is it like it's just like, oh yeah, I just go out and do my thing and
I think it was Russell Beresford that tweeted out saying he was amazed that Brixey actually was aware of the crew moving to Austin situation because he doesn't seem to take a lot of interest in stuff.
Maybe he's a better counterattack player, and they play that system on the road, and then maybe that's what works for them.
I genuinely love what Shea has offered the team this season and towards the end of last season. And I know we've made a big deal about his salary and stuff. I'm forgetting. That's not our concern. What he's paid really doesn't concern us. They could buy him down if they wanted. They haven't. We've discussed why. I just like what he is bringing. Off the bench, in away games. That is DP quality.
You can't argue with his contribution this year. And I agree with you. I don't care about the salary. I do care about how the club is using the DP spots. And we don't need to have we don't need to have the discussion. Yeah. But he's making some pretty massive contributions so far this season.
But then out of that, it looked like the Whitecaps at half-time, I thought, there's no way that they're coming back into this. Then they equalised, and then you felt it was anyone's game for the taking. And then Alphonso Davies comes on 3-4 minutes later, immediate impact, brilliant play. I mean, it starts off with Kamara. He gets the ball in midway in the Whitecaps half, powers forward, plays a lovely little sideways pass through two Crew defenders. Davies gets it, an unfortunate bounce. Round Stefan, back of the net. Everything looked great, but right away, I can't remember, I think it was Artur, but it might not have been. But it might have been awful. He had his hand up anyway.
So one of them had their hand up and pointing to
more than one of them was awful.
So the Caps got VAR'd again. And from what I've seen angles-wise, I have not seen anything that says to me that was a clear and obvious handball.
I wouldn't say it's clear and obvious, but I think there was a handball there.
But ball to hand to ball.
I have a feeling, from what I can see, and I've watched it a couple of times, I feel like Alfonso, the way his hand was, he was kind of guiding the ball forward. It looked like it to me. It looked like it to me. So first of all, I don't think it was clear and obvious. So I don't think it shouldn't even been VAR'd again. But once you see it on the screen, you have to call it at that point.
I think he did kind of too after he scored. He did give a look.
Yeah.
Right. So that spoke to his inner, not necessarily intent, but he's like, oh no, is that little thing going to cause it to be called back? Usually I would say, that's ball to hand, but the problem is when it leads to a goal, right?
Yeah,
that's if I was from Columbus and that had stood, I would have felt hard done by.
Yeah, I guess, and if it had been against us, I would have been saying it's handball. Handball. So you can look at it that way. It didn't matter in the end,
no,
because 6 minutes later, Kamara, wonderful header.
It made it more storybook that way too, with Kamara scoring it.
Started it off, great work by Davies. I mean, obviously, Kamara getting the winning goal in Columbus will be the big story in MLS this weekend. It will make all the headlines. Great work by Davies, and then pinpoint cross by Felipe.
I love when players do that. The pass is coming to them, and they do that little, where they stop bottom of their heel forward, and then hit it first time.
And then look up, and then just hit it.
There's something about that that just screams quality.
Kamara's header was quality.
Yeah.
I mean, that is why we have brought him in. We needed the delivery for a player like that then to do that, and he was in the box this week, unlike last week. I liked two celebrations on that goal. Felipe, cross, header, goal, just
walk
turns
away.
around like, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And then Kamara with his little signaling off the TV. I've watched it
somebody
so many times trying to work out what he was saying.
Well, somebody was saying that he said, watch that again on VAR MFer. And you'll really enjoy it or something like that. I don't know what
that would be good.
That's what somebody tweeted. I saw that tweet during the game.
Review that.
Yeah, something. Yeah, something like
watch that again.
Watch that.
Father.
Yeah. You're going to enjoy that.
Awesome. But the Caps saw the game after that. Slight scare. Artur hit one off the bar, but Columbus were pretty disappointing, and I think the Whitecaps deserved that win.
Full value.
Yeah. So that's some of our thoughts on the game. We've got a lot more of it to come. But we're going to play some audio now from both head coaches. We'll start off, of course, with Columbus's Gregg Berhalter, who was pretty gracious in defeat. And then, of course, we'll hear from Robbo.
And we ain't got no basketball team. We ain't got no football team. So everything's yellow. Columbus Crew swag, baby. Yeah. Yellow gold. yellow shoes, yellow beach, Columbus Crew.
I don't know. I think this is a good wake-up call for us because, give Vancouver a lot of credit. They had a clear game plan. They stuck with it and they executed it. But for us, I think, I don't think that we can play at 60% of our highest level and win games in this league. I really don't. So for me, the wake-up call is, okay, guys, this is about every game. Us playing with a high tempo, us really looking to push our game on the opponent. And today, I think we're way too slow with our ball movement.
Do you have was there anything that you can point to as to why the slow ball movement and stuff like the stuff that you just said? Why today? I think we weren't getting our fullbacks high enough. I think we're a little too cautious with that. I think our wide attacking midfielders at times were coming too deep. So then we had no threat to get behind their line, and none of the space. We weren't opening up any spaces. So, again, to me, this is a wake-up call game. It's one of those games that we realize, okay, we got to get better. We got to do better, and we'll be fine.
Gregg, we talked yesterday about just applying pressure on crosses on that last goal. Is that kind of how you diagnose that play?
Yeah, I have to look at it again, but to me it looked like we were perhaps a little too deep. We didn't get enough pressure on the ball, and then give Kai credit, he makes a good header, but I think we were a step slow on that play for sure.
Obviously, all three goals. I mean, the second one got disallowed. The Davies goal was just based on counterattacks. Is that something that you really were trying to prevent Vancouver, just in terms of just trying to prevent it getting beat in transition?
We did. I think we did a decent job of that, and then in the second half we did lose our shape a little too much. We did give them a little too much space. When you look at the first goal, it just was an example of where we could have been better. I think the goal that got disallowed, very similar situation. We have a chance to stop the counterattack very early, and we'd let the player run. So again, to me, this is a good wake-up call for us that we can't go through the motions in this league. You need to perform every single game.
Gregg, just overall thoughts on the big victory here in Columbus?
Well, happy with the 3 points. Obviously, we know it's a difficult game whenever we come to Columbus. They're a really good team. They like to play a certain way, and we knew that coming into the game. But I thought the game plan was excellent. The boys carried out what I asked them to and put a lot of effort in. And when you take your chances, obviously, it's pleasing.
What did you make? What was said at halftime? It seemed like the team came out and was a completely different team at the second half.
I thought we did well shape-wise in the first half. We conceded a goal through a goalkeeping error, but they didn't really hurt us in certain areas. They played some good stuff in front of us, but not behind us. So I said to be positive, make positive decisions in the final third. When you get your chances, take them. And it's all a credit to the players today, because at halftime when I did give them a little poke, they responded, and you get your reward.
Obviously disappointing and unfortunate, the goal that Alfonso scored. Just what did you make of the ability for the team to come back after some more adversity?
Well, I hope they're right, first thing, because ball to hand or hand to ball, they have to be clear with that, because I don't think he actually stuck his arm out. I think he tried to put his arm in. So whether it's a positive action or not, I don't know, is up for debate, but I'll probably let that one blow over, because we managed to get a goal after that event anyway. But the response was great. We dealt with disappointment very well, and we went again and we got the reward.
Kai coming back to his former club and scoring the game winner, he was a beast all night.
He was, and I said to him before the game, sometimes you don't need to say anything. Sometimes you let your football do the talking on the pitch, and that's exactly what he did today. Not just his goal, I thought his all-round performance was top draw, and I'm delighted he got his reward, and obviously fitting that it was here as well.
He's the gaffer, you can't try it on with him. He's the gaffer, even when he's on a limb. He's the gaffer, when his back's against the wall, has the answer to it all. He's the gaffer.
The gaffer's there, and we play that gaffer theme tune with a tinge of sadness this week. A lot of you won't know, but the Gaffer, that theme song, is from a 1980s ITV UK sitcom called The Gaffer, starring Bill Maynard. And Bill Maynard sadly died this week, aged 89, so young, so much still left to give. He was still acting, and he had just recorded an episode of Pointless Celebrities in the UK, and he had an 80-year acting career. So he was a big part of my childhood shows like Oh No, It's Selwyn Froggatt and The Gaffer. Loved that theme. Sad to see him go. Bit worrying, though, that so many people that we involve in this show seem to die. We've had the Bullseye tribute. We've had Bruce Forsyth. We've got The Gaffer. Just be careful, you two. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I haven't played any music or anything like that, so I'm I haven't created any music, I should say.
But we'll just wrap this section up just by wrapping up a little bit of stuff about the crew game. By the time the Whitecaps got back to Vancouver today, they will have travelled over 20,000 kilometres for their first 3 away games. That is absolutely insane.
Now, what's left, though? How many?
We're going to travel, 55? I think, overall,
so that's 20 in the first month.
Yeah, I mean, it's
35 for the rest of the year. Yeah,
and if you listen to my chat with Jordon Mutch in the preview podcast, he said the same. It's like, oh, great to just get these out the way now.
You guys, I don't know. You guys are not looking at the upside. Sure, you got to travel this, but think of all the air miles that they get out of this.
That's a good point.
I know. I mean,
it helps pay for itself.
They get to travel.
Could be another trip to Hawaii for everybody.
But will they be able to use it with all the blackout dates? Do they get to keep it themselves? I'm sure they do.
The individuals, no.
No?
No, the individuals, probably not.
I would have thought.
I thought they might.
The individuals?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, no. When
I know.
They should. Otherwise,
I know. For example,
international players get to.
I know referees. I know this was a big thing. Referees in other leagues, their tickets are obviously paid by the league, and they get the air miles. Reporters who go on trips with the teams get their airlines right, and they get the air miles.
I would have thought the person paying for it gets to.
But what are they going to do with it?
We need to get to the bottom of this.
We do. If Mr. Whitecaps is listening live, call in. 604 822.
Anyone listening live, feel free to call in.
Yeah, we'll see what we can take.
I might not realize it's ringing, though. It's not like it's going to ring.
I'll watch. I'll keep one eye on it.
Anyway, quick final thoughts on this before we end this part. What does a win like this do for the mentality of the group? Sitting on top of the table, joint still with KC on 10 points.
It just, I think it reinforces that they are a good road team. Somebody was saying that since 2014, they're one of the best road teams around.
Carl Robinson has the best road record in MLS over the last 4 years.
But they just need to figure out a way to translate that into home wins.
Yeah, and yet people still criticise the team for playing like that on the road. It's like, we want you to be more entertaining. I want the points.
Yeah, some of the stuff I've read and listened to, whatever, there is a little bit of that even on the road. But I think the bigger concern is that's also been what some home games have looked like as well.
The thing is, you can play that way on the road. You can be a little bit more dynamic in the way you play that system. You don't have to just sit around and just wait for the other team to run around the ball. You can actually attack the ball instead of just sitting in their spots.
If it works, it works. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Well, the one other perspective actually too that I read that I thought was kind of interesting was I saw a few people kind of talking about how this is fine during the season, but when it comes for the cup at the end of the year.
And then is it hard then for them to make the switch?
Yes.
It looks like it might be.
It has been.
But anyway, we'll be back with some more chat about what might be the Whitecaps' last ever trip to Columbus after this.
Hi, I'm Carl Robinson. You're listening to the AFTN podcast.
Can you hear him calling? Do you feel warmer as the hired hand is bound? And I'll never come here again. Oh, we will never come here again. And we will never play here again.
Will we ever come here again? Will we ever play in Columbus again? That is something we will discuss in this part of the show.
Well, last week we established we won't get fooled again.
Yes, definitely not. Or will we? I don't know. I have a funny feeling we might, But we're going to look at some of the individual player performances just to kick this section off. And I want to start by looking at Felipe. Great stuff from him again. And I love that other players in the league seem to hate him. To me, that means he's doing something right.
He's a Slamo type player. He's got that
He's
grit.
A Michael type player.
He's got that grit and
skill.
Yeah, and everyone
some
everyone
nice
hates
game
him.
management
Yeah.
towards the end.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. Love that when it's my team.
Weren't even the commentators saying, "Oh, he's not hurt"?
I don't know. Columbus must be pretty humid.
Must be.
Yes, it must be.
First assist as a Whitecap as well, and he's never had less than 5 in a season.
So at least 4 more.
Yeah, and I think I'm expecting 8 to 10 at least.
I think it's more too, only because that if he's going to be crossing the ball,
if he's going to cross them like he did for that,
yeah, I think those will be like before. New York always like kind of played from the wide always. They always had wide players to bring the ball through. They rarely ever brought the ball through the middle, and I think that might be a difference.
Or in these last couple of years, it went through Sasha Kleshtin.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I agree. His time at Dead Bull, I think he was more withdrawn. He did less attacking.
Yeah, I like him up top higher. I don't.
Yeah,
I know
he
he's
did
very
well with all those passes and stats that I read out last week.
Yeah, I know he's valuable, like pretty valuable to be like a withdrawn playmaker, kind of deep lying playmaker.
Yeah.
But I think up top he's way more dangerous.
He has. I feel he's been unfairly criticised in the first couple of games by some folk. Yeah.
Who's criticizing?
I don't know.
After the last game, there was a lot of folks seemed to be piling on him a bit, and Juarez as well. And
the last game was just so disappointing overall.
The last game, he sat way at the back.
Yeah.
He really couldn't do anything. Like, he got the ball up to the guys, but like
doing what he was asked to
like
do.
everybody said, the final third was missing, and he was never there because he was so far back by the.
But how can you go, like just the team in general, from that performance against LA to that? And I know LA put men behind the ball, so it's a different kind of game. We're trying to break them down, whereas we're holding off another team. But that's the
key.
It's frustrating.
That's the key.
I think they played to the level of the opposition. I know they don't want to admit it. I know they don't want to admit it, but I feel like that's what they do. It seems like a regular thing.
I think
once in a while they'll go like against San Jose, for example.
Yeah.
In that playoff game, then sometimes they'll just break it out, but. Normally, they're playing to the level.
I think the approach is the bigger thing. So, LA sitting back saying break us down, that's not how they were really set, even at home, usually really set up to play. When you go to an away game in Columbus, and Columbus wants to possess the ball and just move forward, get forward. Obviously, Berhalter was not happy. His fullbacks didn't get forward enough. I can't imagine if they did.
It's a good wake-up call for them.
Yeah, what kind of problem they would have caused, or the Vancouver would have had with their counterattack, because they were set up to counterattack and they counterattacked. They got the goals.
Yeah.
They got the job done.
Actually, if you were listening to Berhalter and you were playing Columbus Crew Bingo, and you had. If you were just waiting to
if you were
score
taking
off,
shots and you were playing the shot game when you were taking a shot every time you said wake up call,
you'd be hammered at the end of that press conference.
I would think alcohol poisoning.
It was only 4 times.
It might be better actually for the Crew guys if they were taking shots and getting hammered.
No, he edited some out.
Yeah, there was more actually in that. Anyway, the Whitecaps,
the midfield.
It's a bit of a quandary there now because they've got so many good options. It's a nice quandary. And there is obviously going to be rotation all season. And that was a tweet we got from Angus Walker, was actually talking kind of a little bit about rotation, that people are saying that the Whitecaps haven't gelled, but when it's rotation, you're not going to gel as easily. But rotation is clearly the key that Carl Robinson is wanting to do this.
But the thing is, if they keep rotating, eventually, no matter who they put in there, it'll be gelled because they know they've played with each other over and over again. Like it'll be, if you keep constantly moving, eventually you're okay with anybody you play with.
I mean, Angus says with Rob as manager, they just have to accept that they will be played and dropped and put in different positions and swapped about all the time. But how would you fit them in?
Well, I think no one's mentioned the key to all this so far. 3 wins, 3 starts for Russell Teibert.
Yeah. I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. For me, if you want to ask fitting in, now that Gazal is getting back, I have Gazal, Felipe, and Mutch, with Teibert being that 4th guy that can rotate in and out. Juarez, I know people like him. I just haven't seen enough out of him myself. Going forward.
On the broadcast, they said he stayed home to help get his family settled or something?
They had some family stuff. That's
Possibly.
what it said.
Because I knew that him and Reina hadn't travelled.
Right. Reina took a knock.
Reina did take a knock in training on
Was
Tuesday.
that the one you gave to him? Oh, no, that was the week before with someone else.
Yeah. Reina took a knock on Tuesday at training and was doing bike work on Wednesday. Right. So That was genuine. He didn't travel. Ali Ghazal was, I mean, he got his first minutes
was a beast
in
training.
Columbus. Yeah, absolute beast. He was putting in some fierce tackles, which kind of had you going, ooh. There was also a moment in training when Daniil Henry fell over.
Oh, no.
And I know.
Was anybody around him?
No, actually. And we were all like, that's... And someone who I won't say who said, that's the season over. But he got up, he was fine. But every time he goes down, you're kind of like... It was like Kakuta last year with me. And Nathan kept saying, calm down, he's okay. And then he was shipped out, and he wasn't okay.
Yeah, he was not great.
But yeah, Juarez was rested. Gazal got his first minutes. Mutch came in. I think I would probably, right now, I like the 4-1-4-1 that worked so well last year. I'd have Gazal as the 1, but maybe with Tybert coming in and out, because I have liked what Tybert's brought this year. And I would go with Juarez and Felipe as 2 in the middle, with Mutch just coming in occasionally.
And you would call it a 4-1-4-1 as opposed to a 4-3-3 because you want the wide players to be more defensively responsible?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it's easy to switch from 4-1-4-1 to 4-3-3 and just move it.
It's just a starting point.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. While I don't see much in Juarez right now, I still think that he's part of it. And that's a solid 5 that you have right now.
Very solid.
For
You've
3
got a
positions.
guy like Mutch as well, who has got Premier League experience, and you've got him to call on off the bench.
I liked a couple times when he broke down the Columbus back four.
Yeah.
He was weaving it out.
Was it
Gazal and Felipe, though? They seemed right away to click. They seemed to have a bit of a connection there. So, I mean, we could see maybe them being the 2, with Gazal being the guy that hangs back, and then Felipe going box to box.
Yeah.
But I agree with Steve. I'd like to see Felipe more offensive. When you've got a guy that can send in crosses like that, you want him up being creative. Now, Breck Shea, we talked about him in the first part, but something we didn't talk about was his finish on that goal, which was sweet. I mean, he was so confident.
Yeah, he just...
Beautiful strike.
Yeah, he was confident and
didn't take too much time to think about it either.
Well, in one sense, that it was kind of an open opportunity, but the way he smashed it in, I thought was really quality.
And Davies, we talked about him as well with his goal. That was a great outing off the bench. Great hustle, electric. You don't want to burn him out, and Rob was very keen that he's not going to burn him out. Rotated out the squad this week to be on the bench. We saw the poorer side of his game last week, which maybe a bit of a rest, a bit of a fire under him. So, I mean, that was good. But how can you leave him out when he puts in a performance like Saturday?
It's such a pleasure to see him play football. I know his goal got called back, whatever. The other things he did in that game, like when he kept the ball in on the end line and then Meg, the oncoming crew guy. Now, it went out for a throw-in, but and then at the end of the game when he kind of did the roulette around with 4 guys around,
he had a couple of kicks at him as well, and if he's going to be doing roulettes around players, he's going to get a few more kicks. So that is something that we really have to watch, and hopefully he gets the protection that he deserves from referees in situations like that,
which he really hasn't in the preseason.
No, which is something I was meant to write about this week, but ran out of time, so I'm going to write about that next week because I've got some good quotes from Robbo and Kamara and Davies himself on that. But he's enjoying his football, the smile on his face, and he's just, everything he's doing, he's just really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I want to see him, and I think I like him on the right. I think it was Joe in the preview show had called for him to be on the right because his good defensive play allows Nerwinski to kind of tear up as well. And then
I saw some people complaining he was playing right back at the end of the game. And it was just like, he wasn't playing right back.
He was just
playing defensive.
Dropping wider.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Nerwinski tucked in a little bit.
Yeah, well, talking about the defence, they looked solid again.
Yeah.
Is Aha now the man that we're going to see beside Waston going
I think
forward?
so. I called it last week.
Despite what I said last week, I think you're right, Steve. I think it's going to be hard to...
That's why I spoke to him on last week's show. I thought that myself.
But he the good thing is he also... I still have some questions about his pace, but I think that he is a really good type of player for when Kendall goes to the World Cup. You just bring in Mond or...
I think they complement each other as well when they're playing together. And Mond and him seem to have a bit of a good partnership as well. It does leave you wondering, where does Henry fit into all this when he is
when he's healthy, he's higher than Mond on the depth chart. whether he can break Aha at that point.
I was going to say right.
Maybe we'll get another fun 3 at the back.
3 at the back, yeah.
Oh, RSL.
Or just four like Germany at the World Cup, just 4 center backs across the back.
3 at the back with Danny Alves. Hey, that won me a competition, so don't knock it. So before we get into our player rankings, who was your man of the match yesterday?
Felipe for me.
You go, Michael, because I don't enjoy this.
I know.
Part.
It's a tough one. I'm tempted to give it to Davies just because he was so electric when he came on. But I'm going to give it to Breck Shea because I just think he put in a shift and got us back in the game, and I liked his trolling.
Okay, I'll just we'll separate it out. I'm going to go with Kai Kamara, not just because he got the winning goal, but what
Sierra Leone.
Yeah, because of what could have, should have, wasn't a really nice setup on Davies' goal, goal.
I mean that was one of the definite setups of the season. Going to take a lot to get better than that.
He was also very excited post-match, which was nice.
Yes, I liked that little video that they filmed us event off the pitch.
Yeah.
So that's our man of the match. So as always, Steve tweeted out for our listeners to rank them. So let's rank them, baby.
Oh, dancing's going on this week.
Ranking full stop. Ranking full stop. I just like doing that. It's my inner Jamaican. No, it came out of its own accord. So how did the players feature with the listeners' rankings, Steve?
Okay, so we'll go from the bottom 3 first of all. And
wait. Jordi Reyna?
No.
Oh, okay.
They didn't play. Stefan Marinovic, I think his spill cost him a spot. So he was and I'm taking subs out.
Okay.
Because obviously, I don't think, except for Davies, nobody really had that much influence.
And I was going to say, why did you even include the subs? But then you have a guy like
No,
Davies.
actually, Gazal had a pretty good run for the last 20 minutes, actually. So it was only Teixeira. So, but the next 2 bottom for after Marinovic are Jake Nowinski and Marcel de Jong. So people obviously didn't feel like the fullbacks had very much influence in the match, it seems like.
That's fair. I mean, it's tough doing these rankings when... I mean, the defenders didn't have much to do.
Yeah, the thing is, just because you're at the bottom doesn't mean that you had a horrible game.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a great team performance, so someone has to be bottom.
Like, some games there's going to be when you're, only the top 2 players had good games and the 9 of them didn't. So it's going to be back
the
and forth.
defense felt really solid, and it was a keeper error that led to the only goal, and otherwise they were quite good.
I've just been sent a fantastic, I think it's from Instagram, picture of Kamara with Breck Shea, with Shea pointing to his Texas tattoo.
Oh, there you go. That's what obviously was the case. Yeah, there you go.
What, is that the capital?
I don't know. That might be where Austin is. I don't know. Anyway, sorry to derail you there.
No worries.
Just got this from Van City Villa, Duncan. So cheers for that. That's tremendous.
The top 5. We'll go into the top 5. 5th spot went to Kendall Waston. 4th spot to Alphonso Davies. 3rd spot to Breck Shea. 2nd to Felipe, and number 1 was Kai Kamara.
Just to clarify, Austin's the capital, and that star is Austin.
Is Austin? Oh,
now
it's even better.
Just to let you know, also, but despite Kai Kamara getting the top spot, Felipe actually got more first place votes.
Oh,
but Kai got a lot of second place votes, which upped his overall value.
I mean, it was a great all-round team performance, and if we can get the same again in RSL, which we won't get into that too much because obviously the preview show will do that, but I mean, they're going to go there full of confidence now. RSL's not looked great, and we'll talk about them when we do our MLS Western roundup.
Who was your man of the match again?
I went for Shea.
Yeah, I think I might have to.
After that, I can't go to training this week because I have to work, and I wish I could because I would love to speak to him about that. That is tremendous. But yeah, I mean, Jordon Mutch, as we mentioned, he played from the start yesterday. Yep. Bernie Abini as well. That was a bit of a surprise, I think, for some people.
I thought he did well. I know he came off after 60.
He came off for Alfonso,
Yeah, Alfonso. I thought he did well. No, the goal.
That was across to Kai. And I think if Stefan or Zach Stefan hadn't got there, I think Kai would have got his head on it.
I think he'd have put it away.
And so,
but it was a dangerous cross.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
I mean, training this week before they flew off, they had Abini in to what looked like the starting lineup, and it's like I like that because no one's going to expect that.
And it's 2 big, wide winger. It was.
I referred to him last week as the forgotten man.
Yes.
Not anymore.
No, I thought he made a good contribution to the win.
He did really well. But I mean, we talked about Jordon Mutch there. He will have enjoyed that win. We spoke to him in the preview show. If you haven't heard that, you can listen to that. He's enjoying his time in MLS. But the more important question is, does he fancy a chocolate digestive?
Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive, even though it sounds suggestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive?
So you're relaxing at home at night, you decide to have a hot beverage. Do you go for a tea, a coffee or something else?
I don't drink really any hot drink, so the only hot drink I'll drink is probably a hot chocolate from Starbucks. That's it, and that's on odd occasion.
And are you a biscuit fan? Have you got a favourite biscuit or anything?
Yeah, if I'm going to have a biscuit, I would probably go for a chocolate hobnob, which is like, they're pretty good, yeah.
And would you dunk if you had your hot chocolate and your hobnob?
Definitely, yeah. That combo goes very well, very, very well.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time today, John.
Nice.
Cheers.
Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive, even though it sounds suggestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive?
So, no chocolate digestive for Jordon Mutch, but a hobnob. My wife likes
That's
a
not
hobnob.
bad. Was there a player recently that liked hobnobs too?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, Zach's shaking his head like I meant that dirty. My wife loves a hobnob. Not a chocolate hobnob, just a plain one.
Now, speaking of, obviously, we talked about Breck Shea's Instagram post and everything like that. He's obviously in favor of a move to Austin.
Yeah.
But obviously
Kai Kamara wants him to go to Vegas.
Well, but we should obviously talk about the crew, Save the Crew format.
I would have loved to have spoken to someone from Save the Crew, but no one replied to my email request from last Monday. So,
are you feel hard done?
I don't care if they speak to us or not. But if you're wanting to get your message out, it makes no sense to me that you wouldn't want to try and do as much media as possible.
Who's higher in your crap list, Save the Crew or Michael Petrasso?
Oh, Petrasso's still right.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Another poor attendance anyway in Columbus yesterday. They got 11,000, just over 11,000 for the home opener in Montreal. Just under 8.5 for their second game against DC last week. And then just under 9, 8,992 yesterday.
I know we said this on a previous episode, but it feels like we're watching Major League the movie.
Yes.
Like it just literally feels that way.
And there's no marketing in the town. They're not doing promotions.
MLS is not promoting them.
Off the owner's box yesterday. I saw that on Twitter and it was completely deserted. I mean, even the West Ham owners turned up at their game yesterday and they got coins thrown at their face.
Well, they're probably wanting those coins.
Wait, are you trying to give Save the Crew?
Give them some money. Or give them some ideas, yeah. Now, it is tough for the fans on how to play this. I don't want to see them leave Columbus. I'm fully behind the Save the Crew movement. But you don't want to give this tosser any of your money. But that then just plays into Precourt's hands. Because he can then say, hey, this city doesn't care about the club. We can't get attendances. The club can't survive. It's a tough situation to go. I've been through it at East Fife. We boycotted. We didn't buy season tickets. We were lucky because they had a mound behind the goal where we could stand and watch the game for free. But then the owners bulldozed the mound so we couldn't watch the game from there. So we got inventive. We
set up scaffolding or something?
No.
Oh.
Well, we did bring chairs and ladders. Oh. And we could look over the wall that
way. Tables?
Sounds like Swanger.
Yeah. Tables as well?
Also, there was fences. There was no tables, ladders and chairs, no. There was fences, or like there was gates where the ball boys had to open the gates to be able to get the balls that were kicked over the wall. So they weren't locked, so we knew that. So we could then open the gates and sneak in. So we did that in one of the games. A guy opened the gate, went in, dressed as a giant chicken, with a wheelbarrow, pushed the wheelbarrow all the way around the side of the pitch, and I referred to this in a couple of episodes ago,
yeah.
Then went into the stand, walked up the stairs of the stand and sat beside our chairman, who then called the police, who said there's a giant chicken beside it. So you need to be inventive. If I'm all for boycotting, That's a great idea. But then you have to have something outside the stadium. Protests. Get the fans there.
Yeah.
Make it known. Get the media there. Get it national. What would you do, Zach, as a supporter? If that was happening here in Vancouver, would you attend the games and protest within? Or would you boycott and protest without?
No, well, first off, I think we may have also said this in the past. I think whatever people want to do, that's their prerogative, and like that's fine. For me personally, I think one of two things. One of two things. One is you don't go, or you go and you don't actively support. The problem with that is you need everyone on the same page, because if some people support and others,
that is the problem here, because that kind of fan protest in stadiums is a little bit alien.
Yeah, and other people will just support. So that's one thing you do. The other thing I would be more my personal first choice is you go because you love the players, the coaches, whatever, or the club itself, whatever, and you actively visually express your perspective, your opinions, your rationale, your reasons, and ideally not just once, although you probably want to do once really big, but you want to kind of keep it going. So I know they do have some banners and stuff that are there that are about it, but
for most of the 90 minutes, all you should be hearing on the TV broadcast is like, save the crew, save the crew, save the crew, and stuff like that, and just anti-pre-court stuff.
Well, that's what would happen in the UK, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not hearing stuff like that. Do you feel that they're doing enough? I know you say it's up to them how they want to do it. Personally, I don't. I think they should be more vocal at the matches. They need to make their presence felt visually more than they are, and they need to up the scale of their protests. Maybe I should send them a football violence wavelength compilation CD just to get them a little bit riled up.
To be honest, I don't have my finger on the pulse of the things right now, so I don't know where they're at. Because part of this might just be they're literally like, okay, this guy's doing this no matter what, and so they're like, I'm not giving him money. We're just gonna whatever. But you'd love to see some things done massively and ongoingly. But that's.
I think they realize the fate is sealed from I don't think they can do anything. I think they're putting all their bets on that lawsuit.
Yeah.
And I think they're just because I think they no matter what pre-court or MLS say, they're not going to change their minds. I think they've known because it's been in the works for like a number of years or at least a year.
Yeah,
that I think they realize they're not changing.
They're not changing blue for the fans, but obviously not for all.
They're not changing MLS's mind. Sorry, and they're not changing pre-court's mind at all.
Well, MLS, that's the thing. This has been going on like this. It feels like this was the plan since 2013 or whatever when he bought this side, and it is going to be really interesting to see what happens to the lawsuit in Ohio, but also what was going on. I don't know if anything's changed in the situation with Sacramento. Not Sacramento. It's not
Cincinnati?
San Antonio in Texas.
Yes.
Because
they had a lawsuit
because they were
as well.
saying, look,
there's also issues in Cincinnati now in Ohio as well, because they might not get the stadium where they want it, and the options that's on the table the club don't want, so it could derail their whole bid.
And
so it's a bit of a mess in Ohio. I mean, ideally, what you want, Columbus to stay, Cincinnati to come in.
Yes.
You've got an Ohio derby.
That would be crazy.
It would be fantastic.
A state derby would be amazing for them.
Yeah. I mean, it feels that they're...
And finally, Columbus might be able to fill up the stadium, too.
Yeah. Feels their fate is sealed, but I wish them all the best. I hope they can do something to save their club, and they've got our best wishes for the rest of the season. We hope to meet you in the MLS Cup final at BC Place, though.
No, why not Columbus? We win there all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I hear Columbus
5 straight wins would be
nice. I hear Columbus is lovely in December.
Yes, it'd be wonderful.
Some friends in the TA told me.
Anyway, we'll be back with more chat after this.
Hi, I'm Alfonso Davies, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back. You're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio. And in this part, we're going to look at what actually turned out to be a fantastic weekend for the Whitecaps. They were one of only 4 Western teams that won. They're now sitting pretty, joint top of the West as they were, with Sporting KC. Massive lead over Seattle Sounders.
Sorry, I just saw the Seattle result. I hadn't seen it.
You hadn't seen that? That's going to make it a bit tough to talk about then.
No, I saw it.
But yeah, it was a really... If you don't know what's happened in this game, then you're going to enjoy us talking about it.
I'm checking.
And the thing is LA, the teams that won was playing each other.
Yeah.
And then the other two, Sporting, obviously DC, you know who's going to win there. And then the other one's Colorado. You don't expect much from Colorado, so that really doesn't hurt the Whitecaps either.
But you expect even less from the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So again, it was, like you said, near perfect weekend.
Yeah. We'll kick things off with a look at the game on Friday night. TFC against Real Salt Lake.
Friday night football.
Opponents. Yeah, Friday night next week as well. Actually, Friday night for the next 3, maybe 4.
I know. I don't think it's 3 or 4. We'll check the schedule. I don't think it's 3 or 4.
Salt Lake and LAFC for sure.
Yeah. And then I know we've got our next home game's on a Friday as well. I just don't know what the other one is in between that.
Oh, yeah. The Salt Lake here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have Kansas City away. I think that's a Saturday.
That might be a Saturday then. So 3 of the next 4 will be Friday nights. But RSL, next week's opponents, they were 2 down at half-time. Altidore got a brace.
Yeah.
Javinko.
2 penalties.
No, very good at penalties.
No,
Javinko.
it doesn't seem like it.
No.
Yeah, I did.
He needs to. Maybe they need to set the ball outside the box, and then he'll score.
Romander, I have to say he did really well to turn that around.
Well, he put it the same. He stopped him last year.
I don't think it was a penalty either. And it was a VAR review that given us a penalty.
No, the first one was. I think it hit him in the chest. It looked like it was a bad.
No. It hit him on the arm. His hand was down. It hit him in the arm.
Think?
Yes.
That's your Toronto bias coming out.
No. That was
the second one. Even the other second penalty
t-shirt.
was just kind of a clumsy thing.
Yes,
I guess
I felt the contact was initiated outside the box. It should have been outside the box.
But if they're going to do tackles like that, we probably want to have maybe Teixeira playing next week. He's good at going down under that kind of.
And it was
contact.
Glad too, who's touted as one of the best center backs, up and coming center backs.
So after Armando made the big save on Seba, it was I like what he did because he chose to cheat, like stay in the middle because he thought, okay, I think Altidore's going to put it down the middle, and of course he blasted in the corner. So, but I like that decision.
I mean,
it would have been great if he stopped both of them.
RSL looked poor, and they've looked poor for the first few games this year. They made a game off it with 8 minutes to go, but then Ricketts put it out of reach in stoppage time. Now, Mike
that
Petke,
kind of looked offside too. Oh, what's it offside? No, there was. No, that was fine.
That's later.
Mike Petke said afterwards, "I got freaking slides." No, he didn't. He said, "I know what the problem is, and it's going to be fixed." Which to me, if I was a player,
didn't he say after the 5-1 or whatever? 5-1?
I don't know. But if I was
there was something that was embarrassed or something like that. He said something like that.
I wouldn't really want to be in the locker room with Mike Petke if he's coming out with things like that. That just sounded ominous for them. Let's hope he doesn't fix it though in time for next week, or maybe until May, since we play them twice in April. But looking good. I'm confident going into RSL next weekend.
Yeah, the RSL is a Saturday though, right?
That's no, it's Friday.
That's Friday.
It is the Friday.
It's a Friday night.
Friday Night Lights.
I like Friday night football. TSS Rovers.
You get the whole weekend ahead of you then too.
Yeah. Actually, enjoy this coming weekend.
Yeah.
WrestleMania, Supercard of Honor, NXT TakeOver.
Speaking of things that are pre-scripted, the LA Derby.
Yeah,
did you get my tweet about that?
I did, yes. Okay. Yeah. Now, the LA Derby. We won't go into that in too much details because it's been covered ad nauseum everywhere else, but what a match. MLSsoccer.com asked the question, was it the greatest MLS match ever?
Not for defenders.
I know that's hyperbole, but it's hard to argue. I watched it live. I was entertained. That was a fantastic game from start to finish.
I could say it wasn't the best highlight package ever.
It wasn't?
No, I'm just...
He watched the highlights.
Because I watched the highlights.
There was a lot of chances in that game.
Yes.
Was there? Okay.
Yes. Like, there was a lot of chances.
It made you wonder why the Whitecaps didn't tear that LA Galaxy defence apart.
And they were at full strength, I think, too.
Or have
pretty
them,
much, yeah.
Or have them score on themselves.
Yeah.
Carlos Vela was really good. He was the man of the first half, and Zlatan was the man of the second
His predominant left foot, then his right foot.
Yeah. The call for the second goal, because the ball took ages to go in the net. It was weird because I was listening to it and I wasn't watching the screen at that point. I was watching the Whitecaps thing. I was like, what is going on? And then I turned around in time to see the ball go in. But yeah, I mean, Vela had a great start. 2-0 up at half time. Before we get into the second half, what is with I thought it was a joke during the week, El Tráfico.
Yeah, no, that's the name.
I know. Brendan Walters, Caps Offside on Twitter, made a very valid point. Why do you have to force these nicknames?
Yes.
Let them develop organically. And my point is, what's wrong with the LA Derby?
Yeah.
Why do you have to give it a stupid Spanish name?
Someone on one of the broadcasts this weekend said that. They're like, this is why you don't give it a name ahead of time, because you let it develop its own flavor, its own thing. And a game like that helps bring out a name or helps shape it, obviously. Every game's going to shape it. But like to start that way, the El Tráfico thing, I've only heard from MLS people, but they say it's organic from the fans. But every fan I've heard from the LA area says, no, we don't like this.
It's El Terrible.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I loved seeing the LAFC fans, the Goats fans in the crowd celebrating. There was a lot of them made the trip.
Goats
it was
on
a
parade.
Brilliant derby atmosphere.
Did you see the small? It was smallish from Tifo from the Riot Squad.
No.
It wasn't a huge banner, but you remember the intro video for Zlatan with the lion?
Oh yeah.
It just said, it was a picture of a lion, and it said, "Lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of goats."
Oh, nice. Second half was, of course, Zlatan's half.
Well, last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was 3-0. The fans were cheering or starting to chant, the Galaxy fans, "We want Zlatan. We want Zlatan."
And you heard his post game, right?
Yeah.
Live on
said,
Fox?
They wanted Zlatan. I gave them Zlatan.
Yeah, he's like, the people were singing, "Give us Zlatan, give us Zlatan."
But they were able.
Gave them Zlatan.
Before Zlatan came on, they were able to pull back 2 goals and get within 1.
Yeah, I mean,
no, he was on for the second.
He was.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, he was on for the second one, and then Leggett, Chris Pontius had.
Leggett was the first. Yeah.
That goal that Zlatan scored is probably not only going to be the MLS goal of the season, it's going to win the ESPN award.
Well, you know what? Somebody was Matthew Doyle. Maybe tweeted it out.
Goal of the
He
year.
said, unfortunately, if Atlanta taps the ball in from 6 inches out, that'll be voted goal of the year.
Oh, because
Atlanta fans overvote everything.
Oh,
because Martino was named both best dressed coach last year, and he wears a tracksuit.
Just like Portland used to. You remember those days?
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's why you shouldn't let people vote, especially Americans. See who they vote for.
It was a good strike outside of the boot, whatever. But the keeper took the free kick, and it was totally, obviously, out of position.
Yeah.
But the first time of it all, and the way he smashed it, it was.
Interestingly, on Wednesday, I was at Reno's Tigers Campo Atletico, and the Campo coach was telling his players, "Look how far the keeper's off his line," wanting his guys to do that. None of them managed to do that.
No, I think there's the difference of quality between the Riders.
No lines on that team, eh?
No, but they did win and avoid relegation in the last game of the season.
Campo?
And Zlatan obviously scored the winner too. And then basically, my question was at that point, did Tyler Miller lose his nut? Because that was similar.
Going back to his favorite call.
Because that was similar. Well, we couldn't finish it against Sporting Kansas City in 2011, but that was a similar comeback.
Well, that was only the second ever comeback from a team being 3 goals behind to win 4-3. The first one being last year with the team that we will not mention from down the road.
Yeah, but unfortunately they did it. But it was a huge win for LA.
It's hard not to hype Zlatan. And I know it was like overkill with him coming. He is a big signing. He's a great player. He's a world-class player. But when he does stuff like that, you can't not. He was tremendous. I'm excited to see what he does. And I'm glad that we've already played them once without him.
Yeah, the one thing that I felt kind of awkward in whatever journalism, you want to ask everything, whatever. I didn't like how post-game they asked him twice, "How is your knee?"
Yeah. He said, "Oh, so I think my knee must be good."
Yeah, he's just like, "Did you see the goal?"
Yeah. My knee was good.
I don't feel anything with my knee.
I liked his other comment. He said something along the lines of, he hit the spectacular goal. He hit it because he didn't have much in his tank, so he wanted to do as little work as possible, so he just hit the ball. He is going to be a quote machine. It's going to be tremendous.
Yeah.
But let's move on from that.
Chicago.
Cascadian rivals.
Yeah.
Timbers got their second point of the season.
Visiting Chicago.
Only 8 behind the Whitecaps. 2-2 at Chicago. Chicago came back twice, though, from being behind to grab a point. Valeri had the Timbers ahead 6 minutes in. They led at the half. Nikolic made it 1-1 5 minutes after the restart. 5 minutes after that, Blanco made it 2-1. Then Brandon Vincent grabbed the points with 6 minutes left. Blanco's got 3 of
point.
Portland's... Yeah, point. Blanco has got 3 of Portland's 4 goals this year. They've only scored 4 goals.
And he said
which is better than some other Cascadian teams.
Yeah, Addy has been a disappearing actor.
I seem to remember someone put Addy down as winning the Golden Boot.
Who did that?
I can't remember. Can you remember who that was, Zach?
No.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
I
thought it did
I had
happen.
Nikolic winning, so hopefully that.
So you might be on. I had Kai Kamara. I'm looking good.
Speaking of disappearing acts,
Yes.
Ridgewell disappeared off the 18
again.
Yeah,
2 weeks in a row. The defense still isn't looking great.
I think he's not. I think he's not throwing money away.
Yes.
And Ridgewell. Remember, Ridgewell is a Porter signing. So is this meaning like is there going to be a changing of the guard?
They're either going to possibly buy him out or try and see if some UK team wants to take him back. And someone
is he a designated player or is he a TAM player?
He's a designated player.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that.
Hopefully he sticks around for the whole season. I'd like to see.
I'd like
Sometimes you need
I'd
that.
like to see his meltdown.
Sometimes, like Shea, you need that designated player on the bench, ready to come on at any second.
Well, he's on his couch right now.
Yeah.
Does it look like Portland are starting to turn it round offensively, at least, if not defensively?
It's hard to say.
Yeah, so they doubled their goal tally.
Chicago is not that. No,
Christian Dean played again, so they let 2 goals in.
And Tony got 60-ish minutes.
Yeah, I would hold off on that Portland yet. I think they've still got stuff to work out. But I think by the end of the year, they still will be a dangerous team.
Well, looks like Minnesota's bubbles burst. They got their 2 wins and it's all over. Atlanta beat them 1-0 in a bitter cold game. It was -6 Celsius at kickoff. Got to about -9-10 towards the end. The water bottles were freezing apparently. Atlanta own goal 3 minutes in. Leandro Gonzalez Perez, the guy that got Waston sent off for his fakery, got sent off himself in the 38th minute. That was nice to see. Second yellow.
Ironic.
And that was
a nicer scumbag.
That was a late hit too. Like
yes.
you want to push somebody away, but you don't wait till they're like 3 yards off the sideline.
The Minnesota, like the stadium, the fans are so close as well. That was a dangerous shove that he gave him. Minnesota had 70% possession in that game, and they only managed 3 shots in goal. Once again, showing that possession matters nothing. Robbo has invented the new style of football. No one cares about possession. Mason Toy.
He had an effort that went off one of the uprights.
Yeah, with 2 minutes to go, it hit the outside of the post. That was their best chance of trying to do something.
Because they only had like 3 shots, right?
Yeah.
And their 70% possession only came to 3 shots.
So that's good. We don't want Minnesota to do very well. San Jose, they lost 2-1 to NYCFC. Another 3rd-minute goal.
At home, too.
Yeah, San Jose were 1 up.
This game was on TSN, so I watched most of it.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Jefferson Quintana, a guy I'd never even heard. I didn't even know they'd signed him. But he had a near-post header to put him 3 minutes up. Then NYC rallied in the second half to secure the win. Great strike from the Swede Anton Tinnerholm. Then a 60th minute deflected winner from Maxi Morales.
That first goal was kind of nice.
NYC unbeaten to start the season. 4 wins out of 5. The last 3 games they haven't had David Villa, and they're actually doing it.
Yeah.
So only them and Dallas, surprisingly, are remaining undefeated, although Dallas, I think, has only played 3 games.
Yeah, and Dallas we'll see in the summertime where they are.
Neither of them has faced the Whitecaps yet, so that's obviously why they are unbeaten. But yeah, nice loss for San Jose.
Another Western team that lost, Houston, at home again.
Yeah.
This time to New England.
Even more surprising. I don't know what was that.
That was surprising as well.
I was trying to watch the Seattle red card.
Trader Teal, he fired the Revs ahead in the 15th minute on a wonderful 4-on-1 breakaway. You cannot beat a 4-on-1 breakaway.
No, you can't.
DeMarcus Beasley, he then got sent off in the 36th minute for a professional foul on Piniella.
It felt like he almost like headbutted him in the back. I don't know what from the angle it looked like he was like.
I think he tried to stumble to make it look like he had just accidentally tripped.
Like the Perry Kitchen method on Alfonso a couple weeks ago.
That's a pro to do that. Yeah. New England hit the post, then Piniella wrapped the points up with a lovely solo goal. Nice little trickery in the box.
He seems like a dangerous player for them.
Yeah. I had Houston finishing bottom of the West, and you mocked me for that. It's still a long way to go, I know. But they haven't looked good. Did they peak too soon with that opening day win against Atlanta? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it seems like that's the one that's the outlier.
Well, you wouldn't expect them to be so poor at home. No. I know it's the colder weather down there, but
1 point from the last 3 games, and 2 of those were at home, and that was a loss to the Caps as well. that invincibility at home, that was really all they had in the past because they didn't even look good on the road.
Right now, it's decent weather for opposition. It is going to get hotter, and I think that's where it's going to later on that invincibility is going to come in later on when it gets really hot.
A team that did win though this weekend, Sporting Kansas City, and another goal in the third minute. And another own goal in the third minute. What was with the third minute?
Yeah, it was nice that there were some games that were more exciting than a couple that ended with third minute goals.
Yes, yeah, 1-0. That was it.
Was the third minute sponsored by somebody? Maybe that's
possibly.
It wasn't like Heidi Kid Rivalry Week or some stupid thing like that.
Felipe Gutierrez got the credit, which is baffling to me because it was clearly a Frederick Brion own goal. 35 shots between them, only 8 on target. There was really nothing else to note in that game, but KC joint top with the Whitecaps, and they've looked good to start the season. They look like our main challengers for the Supporters Shield right now, is what I'm thinking.
I think the Supporters Shield is going to come out of the East right now.
Colorado, I don't think will be our main challengers, and neither will Philly.
But they did beat Philly.
Yeah, 3-0 win for Colorado.
Badgie.
Philly had the youngest defence in MLS history. Average age of 21
and it
with
showed.
2 teenagers.
It showed.
And it showed. They won't be doing that again. They've learned their lesson. Or have they?
Colorado
They won't get fooled again.
Colorado taking advantage of their altitude against a poor team.
Dominique Onion Badgie scored his hat-trick, second half hat-trick. First 2 were from close range. Third one was a lovely finish. So it's his first career hat-trick.
He had a teammate that was in the middle of the box.
Yeah,
and who was waving? He was waving for the ball, and he didn't get it.
Now Philly weren't great, and it's hard to read if Rapids are turning things right now under Anthony Hudson in a game like this. You need them tested against better competition. I just like that Declan Wynn is getting regular starts because I really liked him when he was on WFC 2, and we've saved the most hilarious game till the end. Now, when it's Seattle, Montreal, it's one of those games you don't want either team to win because you hate both teams.
It's called a meteor game, isn't it?
Yeah. But if you're wanting one team to win, it's going to be Montreal because Seattle are our Western rivals. 1-0 Montreal win.
Actually, I just want to say this. I think in the USL era, I probably would have been happy for Seattle.
Yeah, actually, I probably would have in the USL era as well. I detested Montreal.
But not in the MLS era for sure.
Yeah, I don't hate them as much as I used to. And that's surprising to me because I really hated them. I still hate them, but just not as much.
It's one of the good things about Houston doing poorly is Matt Jordan is not doing well. Wait, he's still there, right?
Yeah, how's his wife?
Lori?
Yeah. The poor dog.
Do they still have the website mattandlori.com?
I don't know. We should check that. We'll do that the next break. But the Sounders saw red again. Kelvin Leerdam was sent off for a slap via VAR via Ismail Elfath. He loves his VAR.
No, what you said was for a slap? Did I miss something?
Yeah, it was for a slap.
Oh, he slapped him? I didn't see that. I totally missed that. I thought it was the undercutting of the
No,
player.
that's what the commentators thought. They said it was a ridiculous
I didn't even realize. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Basically.
Oh, I totally
Can you
missed that.
reenact
I saw
with
that.
Steve?
Yeah, let's go.
Steve, come over here.
I'll jump up and you undercut me.
Okay. Daniel.
No, I want to see the slap part.
The ball went out for a throw-in.
Yeah.
Daniel Lovitz shoved Kelvin
I saw that part
in the chest with no repercussions. Leerdam just basically put his hand up and brushed it across his face.
Oh, wait,
was a slap.
Was it one of those kind of like, but on the face?
No, it wasn't. It was, he kind of, just moving away from the mic to show Zach. It was a gentle kind of brush across the face.
If you heard, I heard the hair rustle when he slapped his beard.
Because players
I've always wanted to touch his beard. It felt strange.
Yeah.
I did not think it would feel
otherworldly.
Like that.
Players used to always do that, right? They used to tap the guy on the side of the head.
I think that was harsh. Yeah. And I know the letter of the law, you raise your hands to a player's face, it's a red card.
I think the
Sounders pushed the guy and didn't.
Well, your judgment is clouded.
The Sounders coach did like say, Leerdam apologized for what he did. So they're kind of accepting responsibility for what they did.
I think that was harsh. If that had been on Kendall, it would have been a red as well.
Kendall slaps every one of his players.
I looked yesterday. He did not slap Kamara again when Kamara scored.
Oh, he slapped who scored the first one?
Breck Shea.
Oh, he slapped Breck.
Yeah,
he did slap Breck. I think your perspective is clouded on this, Michael, because it's Ishmael Elfath.
Maybe I just think it was harsh, and Anyway, it was funny. But it ended up...
It was funny because Seattle dropped points.
Yes, with a nice winner by Jason Vargas on the hour mark.
That was a good team goal.
Yeah,
that they
nice
scored.
footwork to finish it.
What are you going to say to the Radio Cascadia guys when you talk to them?
I'll just go...
You got Elfath.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I forgot about that. I'll look forward to chatting to them tomorrow. Sounders, no goals in their first 3 matches. A record start to their season for them. It's just sad that we don't play them soon.
Well, they'll always have this year's Champions League run to console.
Yes. But just before we wrap this section up, what's your thoughts on the West 1 month in? I'm happy with it.
It's too early right now to have some major thoughts. I
just like that we're opening a big gap over some teams that you feel will be challenging for
I'm shocked by Portland and Seattle.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised by Sporting.
Now, they've got games in hand, but we're 8 ahead of Portland and we're 10 ahead of Seattle.
That's too early to talk about.
When you look at the embryonic table and you see that Minnesota United is in 5th, yeah, it's too early to say anything about that, especially when you look at Portland, Seattle on the bottom.
Hey, if it stays like that all year, I'll be
Seattle not making the playoffs for the first time ever?
Them both finishing bottom would be wonderful.
But Seattle was in trouble last couple of years. And
they always pull it out. They'll probably get a new coach. We'll see what happens there. Anyway, we'll be back with more chat after this.
Hi guys, this is Felipe. Thanks for listening, AFTN.
You just had a nice text in from Van City Villa, Duncan Nicol, who pointed out that RSL currently have 10 injuries. So that would explain why they are so bad to start the season.
Right.
And it's also then a worry going there next week because we saw how we played against a 10, 11-man injured or missing LA Galaxy side. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Does Beckerman have his hair back or is it still cut?
No, it's all cut.
Oh.
He's lost his mojo.
I thought he might have grown it back.
Mr. Mojo is not rising.
Petke's going to fix the problems, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to get Beckerman a wig.
Yeah, he knows what it is. Anyway, now it's time for my favourite part of the show. It's wavelength time. And
you got an Easter song for us?
Yeah. Well, we're into Easter Monday, so this is still classed as Easter? I don't know. But I've heard that it's not just about chocolate and bunnies this weekend. There is a bit of a religious side to Easter as well.
Still Easter Sunday in Hawaii.
Oh, excellent. Our big Hawaiian listenership will be enjoying this then. So I've brought a kind of a special song along to mark the day, and one that maybe Zach will enjoy. It's a kind of religious-based song. It's by English singer Billy Bragg, and it's called God's Footballer. It's about a player that played in the 70s for Wolverhampton Wanderers, Peter Knowles. He's Cyril Knowles' brother. He was more kind of well-known. He gave up being a professional footballer to become a Jehovah's Witness, and it's a nice song. I genuinely think you're going to like it. This is Billy Bragg with God's Footballer.
God's footballer hears the voices of angels above, the choir at Molyneux. God's footballer stands on the doorstep and brings the good news of the kingdom to come, while the crowd sing Rock of Ages and the goals bring weekly wages. Yet the glory of the sports pages is but the worship of false idols and tempts him not. God's footballer turns on a sixpence and brings the great crowd to their feet in praise of him. God's footballer quotes from the Gospels while knocking on doors in the black country back streets. He scores goals on a Saturday and saves souls on a Sunday, for the Lord says these are the last days. Prepare thyself for the judgment yet to come. career will be over soon, and the rituals of a Saturday afternoon bid him a reluctant farewell, for he knows beyond the sport lies the spiritual.
Billy Bragg there with God's Footballer. We'll be back to our more usual punk football violence songs next week. Just thought I'd play something a little bit nice and different. Did you like that one?
Yeah.
It was soothing.
Yeah, soothing. There we go.
Let me check to see how many listeners are left.
The dude scored like 64 goals in 91 matches and quit at 24.
Yep, gave it all up for God.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
We'll talk about that off air.
That, like when the Highland League teams first came into the Scottish League, Ross County and Inverness Cali, they would not play games on Sundays because it's a high religious thing up there. There was one game that they were forced to play, Ross County played East Fife on a Sunday, and their fans just didn't turn up for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway,
the Sabbath is important, but also the Sabbath is really sad.
I'm still trying to decide whether I want to make April or May Football Violence Awareness Month for Wavelength, but we'll have a chat.
I felt like 2018 has been Football Awareness Year.
Yeah. Sorry, when Sabbath is not the seventh day is Saturday, but Sabbath is kind of the principle is when you make it kind of thing.
Good.
I know you wanted that.
Is that like Black Sabbath? I don't know. Anyway,
but speaking of God's country, some people would call Fresno God's country.
Well,
not for Whitecaps people.
We're going to have a little
Who
chat.
in the right mind?
I was trying to look for a link.
We're going to have a little chat about Canadian development in this part, and we are going to kick things off with a look at the Whitecaps' affiliation with the Fresno Foxes.
What? Why would we do that? Because there's little to no.
It's going to be a very short segment.
It seems like it's not affiliation; it's more like babysitting.
Yeah, I wanted to wait till a month had gone because they've played 4 games. They played 2 in the last week, so we're 4 games in. Fresno, not a bad start. 2 wins, a draw, a defeat. Robert Earnshaw is there as an assistant coach. I need to catch up with him.
We need to get him on the line.
Yeah.
First game was against Vegas.
Yeah, they
our
lost
old
that
friends.
3-2.
Robert, if you're listening, the number is 6.
If he's listening to this in Fresno at this time of night, I would expect that because he's passionate. But yeah, 3-2 loss in for Fresno against Vegas in their first game.
No Caps on the field.
4 Whitecaps on the bench though. None of them saw a minute.
Yeah.
Second game, a 1-1 draw with Galaxy 2. 3 on the bench, and 2 of them came on as subs. Noah Verhoeven got 6 minutes.
Plus injury time.
And Terran Campbell got 1.
And there was only 3 on the bench because Bevan was away on international duty.
No, Bevan's...
Or not Bevan, who was it?
Baldissimo wasn't away, he just didn't make the bench.
No.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
Third game, though.
That's worse than I thought.
Yes, it's even worse. Third game was midweek, a 1-0 win at Seattle, so that was good.
Verhoeven actually played some minutes.
Yeah, he started, played 62 minutes. No, this is Noah Verhoeven we're talking about. Anyone that watched TSS Rovers, I think they've taken Zach Verhoeven. No, this is Noah Verhoeven, an American. Well, he represented Canada, then he switched to America.
But he came through the residency.
Yeah, and Jonathan, Border Caps on Twitter, wanted to know, do you think he'll switch back? I have to feel if he's playing down the States now, probably not, unless the US don't want him, and then, yeah, probably so. Because I think that is how it works, if we're being genuinely honest. Campbell was an unused sub for that game. And then the last game was last night, 2-1 win, first home win against OKC Energy, just over 5,000 fans there. Verhoeven started again, went the full 90. Baldy and Campbell were on the bench. Only Terran Campbell came on. He got 2 minutes this time. Doubled his game time.
Yeah. One player who hasn't got any minutes is Sean Melvin.
Yes.
Which
has been on the bench the whole
a bit surprising. Yeah.
Well, it's even more surprising because the guy keeping Melvin out of the team...
He's really young, right?
He's got a lot to prove. He's only 34. I mean, he's got his whole future ahead of him. Kyle Rainish. Now, Fresno, they're not a developmental side. We know that. But come on, what is the point of sending Melvin there, who's a quality keeper? And we saw how good a keeper he was with WFC2 last year and seasons before that. And even when he was at college as well. Why send him down there and not even give him one game? That makes no sense to me at all.
Well, it's a long season yet.
But 4 straight games for a 34-year-old?
Yeah, he might throw out you never know, he might throw out a hip or something. He's so old. So then at that point, Melvin gets in there.
So to look at maybe potentially the other side of this, if you're Fresno, if you're Frank Yallop, you might be saying, we set up this partnership, we were excited, we were maybe not promised, but we said, look, these are all the young prospects we have that we were hoping will come down.
Yeah,
and then wanted to. Most of them didn't want, or a significant number didn't want to.
Some have gone to Europe, some have gone to college.
So maybe they're like, okay, this is not what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
We're not going to focus on that as much. We're going to make sure that we get some wins to help us develop in the
Yallop
local
is a general manager,
community.
And he's not the coach, so he's not calling. He's not picking the starting.
He'll have a significant influence.
Well, I'm sure he will, but the coach essentially makes the starting lineup.
And I do plan to speak on Yallop pretty soon. In fact, Frank, if you're listening, give us a call on 604. No. But no, we should speak to someone about this and try and find out. I mean, the Whitecaps are never publicly going to say they're not happy with how things are going, but they can't be. Yeah. Especially for poor old Matthew Baldissimo, who's a great quality talent and is just not getting a sniff.
Without them having said anything, you know the coaches are not happy.
Yeah. Michael Baldissimo was at training this week with the first team, so that was a good sign. Him and Simon Colton still training with the first team.
And then they shipped out
Meyerbev
on loan to like third tier Sweden.
Yeah.
That says something big.
Yeah. I mean, that he'll get probably regular game time there. So I mean, that's
you hope he would dominate.
I think that's the reason why it's third tier. Is maybe they just couldn't find a spot for him on the first two.
Is that the future though? Are we gonna
now they can recall him at any time if they need him,
or extend it as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, is this what we're going to see moving forward? How do we get some of our fringe guys minutes? Because clearly, sending them down to Fresno, you're not guaranteed they're going to play.
They need an affiliation with CPL team. That's obvious.
That's not going to happen.
That's what they need.
No, I think
that's
they
not
do as
happen.
well. To me, that would make total sense.
The CPL,
I know Zach's against that.
No, the CPL won't do that.
Calgary.
No.
Calgary.
No.
Calgary don't need the Whitecaps. But
CPL cannot. They're gonna. If Whitecaps want to loan some players out to the CPL, they will take it.
I'm sure there might be loan, but there will not be affiliation.
No, not affiliation. That's what I meant by affiliation.
That's what I mean in as well. I'm not talking about a proper affiliation. It's just you're going to find there's going to be teams, possibly one team, that's going to get all these young Whitecaps talent next year.
And if it's like 4 to 5, a 6 maybe?
Actually, you just have to look at Calgary Foothills PDL squad this year. They are clearly planning for the CPL.
Yeah.
Because they've got a big swath of ex-WFC2 players.
And residency players.
And residency guys as well. And other talent that's kind of Nick Ledgerwood as well. Canadian internationals there,
and
they're
sure
building something special.
And I'm sure the Fraser Valley team, whoever is scouting for them, will be at a lot of TSS games.
You're not telling me if the Whitecaps did not go to the Fraser Valley team and say, "Look, we want to give you some of our guys," that the Fraser Valley team's going to go, "No, we want nothing to do with you."
Well, there's this.
If they do, then this Canadian Premier League is meant to be about putting all differences aside and working together.
No. That's a bigger conversation. But I would say this, though. When you're talking about Canadian Premier League clubs that will be in close proximity to the 3 MLS sides, there is this idea that you do need to differentiate yourself. And there is this idea that this is Canada's top division.
Yeah.
And so we have these teams playing in America's top division, and so there needs to be some kind of separation, which is why when Bill Manning says to them, "Oh, we'd love to put TFC 3 in it," right? A really...
I don't know, it should have been TFC 2.
Well, but still, it was...
just TFC.
But it was them trying to put down the league, right? It was their way of saying... We don't think this is going to be really... So when you already have that kind of happening, you can understand why the CPL would say, thank you, but no thank you. Or they might.
Yeah, I could see that. It just, to me, it makes no sense. When you've got the head coach of Canada, John Herdman, saying, we want these Canadian players in the best possible environment, he's going to be wanting these players that's on the Whitecaps roster to be getting regular minutes, and playing in the CPL would do that for them.
Right, but also on the other hand, Michael, when you look at the MLS sides, can you say honestly that they really have done their best to develop young Canadian players?
Because it's all about winning. So the players maybe haven't been good enough either to play.
So then, are they worthy of the kind of?
They'll be good enough for the CPL.
Are they? But are those clubs worthy of the kind of arrangements that you guys are talking about?
Yeah, because it's for the players' benefit. I mean,
and for the nation's option,
the other option is you affiliate with other USL teams, not just Fresno. And we have seen, like, Spencer Ritchie has been loaned to FC Cincinnati for this season. And I'll be honest, I'm more interested in what FC Cincinnati do than what Fresno do. I know Fresno are the Whitecaps affiliation, but for me, I feel more of an affinity towards FC Cincinnati. I've known Alan Koch since 2011, 2012. He's a good friend to me. And we've chatted a lot over the years, and I wish him well, and I want to follow how his team are doing. And so far, they've started the season unbeaten with 2-1-0 away wins. But Richie's gone there, and he hasn't seen a minute yet either. Although he is at least, there's a 30-year-old keeping him out of the team in Evan Newton, who has started both matches so far. And I'm pretty sure Spencer will see minutes there. There's 3 ex-Whitecaps, 2 players there as well, Will Seymour and Daniel Haber. They've both seen time off the bench.
The young Canadian Will Seymour?
Yes. Well, I mean, you say that, like Noah Verhoeven is one of the 4 guys we've got in Fresno, and he's technically just now American, so... But, I mean, where do you see things going then? Do you not... I mean, what would work best for you to develop this Whitecaps Canadian talent?
I've already said my piece on that. Scroll back if you forgot. You missed that.
Zach's thinking.
No, I think they started to break down what was the ideal setup for a football club in the as the door closes on its own there.
Hopefully the door doesn't close with
having a second team that is yours, that you can control and shape how you want, and if you want to play the same as the first team and all that. So they've jettisoned that, and I thought that was probably the best option. So I don't. Yeah, what they do now, I think they're stuck. They're stuck in a spot where they burned some bridges and they're stuck with what they're stuck with. So I haven't really thought about it that much about what's best for them going forward.
I think this will end up being a lost year for the Whitecaps development.
Yeah,
it seems like,
and
hopefully they can retool and get going next year.
Well, we've still got TSS Rovers to look forward to. Their season gets underway next month now. And watch AFTN on Tuesday. We revealed the first 18 players on the TSS Rovers roster a couple of weeks ago on the show. We're going to reveal the nearly full male roster on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, for the first time, you're going to get a look at who makes up the TSS Rovers women's roster for their first season. And all I'm going to say is there's going to be a few familiar names on that. And people will be very excited to be watching TSS this summer.
Yay.
Christine Sinclair.
I told you not to spoil the news. Yeah, Sinky's coming up.
I thought Portland was her home.
It is, but she's gonna play for both. She's got a special agreement to play with both because she's the queen and she can do what she wants.
I'm joking. That was not meant to be disparaging to Christine Sinclair.
I don't think she's good enough for the TSS roster. She's too old. They want young talent.
Speaking of the Canadian Premier League, we were talking about them earlier.
Go ask your buddies about if they would turn down Christine Sinclair.
I have a funny feeling Willie and Colin would bite your hand off.
Okay, I'm getting you guys out of it. Speaking of the Canadian Soccer League.
No. Canadian Premier
League, sorry.
Don't talk about the Canadian Soccer League. No one talks about the Canadian Soccer League.
Unless there's something you need to tell us.
Yes.
Might be swimming with the fishes if you talk about the Canadian Soccer League.
But there was a big announcement this week for the Canadian Premier League.
Yeah.
And Zach, you must love this. Canada's got its own sum. The Canadian Soccer Business, which I don't know, could they come up with a worse name?
Yeah, the name I'm definitely not a fan of.
The idea, are you a fan of that?
No, so basically this is my understanding. Is I've talked to people about this and asked questions about this. This is what I've been told and how I understand things. Will this be lived out this way? Time will tell, obviously. But what I've basically been told is, the Canadian Premier League, the people behind the Canadian Premier League have watched and learned and listened about what MLS has done. And basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to take the good things and discard the bad.
So Ismail Elfath will not referee games in the CPL. You heard it here first.
So the idea of, my understanding is the idea of having the CSB,
yes,
having the CSB is to ensure that the longevity of the league, right?
Yeah.
And so
there's a 10-year agreement with Canada Soccer,
right,
covering the national team, the CPL, the V Cup, the CCL, handling all corporate partnerships and media rights, commercial assets and stadium naming rights for the CPL. And they want to do more around the V Cup as well.
They're basically representing the teams, essentially, and kind of helping them. And
they said it was a coming of age.
It's essentially going to lower costs, and they'll obviously, hopefully the national team gets better sponsors than they have had, like a Suntan. I think company that was one sponsor. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. I remember they were giving out samples at one of the games. I could be wrong. And then obviously Amway was
that
one.
That was just a dream of yours, I think.
Amway was another sponsor. I know that. That was a nightmare because people just kept calling it the Amway Cup.
Oh, I remember getting deodorant back in Swangard. No. That might have been at BC Place.
That was BC Place.
BC Place. Where did I get a Swangard? I got some free thing.
BC Place. Those were the awesome people who sponsored the move of the player entrance move.
Who gave us the indigestion tablets? Was that a Swangard?
That might have been Swangard. No, but so this is not the Canadian Premier League will not be exactly like MLS. Is what I was trying to say before. So there's it's kind of a both end. There is this collective unity to make sure that the whole thing is sustainable, but my understanding is there will be far greater autonomy in terms of the clubs and how they build their teams and how they go about their local community football club.
I mean, I'm a fan of it at both ends, so we'll see how things work out with that.
So so just the people who've been on Twitter have been like, "Oh, this is the same as." No, this is not the exact same as some.
And I know we've been talking about this for weeks, but we are going to be speaking to people involved in the CPL in the coming weeks. We've just been super busy and not had a chance to get round to it. We'll be back with more chat though after this.
Hi guys, I'm Aaron Mon. You're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
I think it's time for BC Soccer Web headlines. BC Soccer Web Headlines is brought to you by bcsoccerweb.com, your one-stop site for news, links and a lot more, locally, nationally and internationally. Make it part of your daily routine, morning and night. Check out bcsoccerweb.com. What's been catching your eye on the site this week, Steve?
A few things. First of all, we'll do a couple follow-ups. Greek soccer. Had another eventful week.
The gift that keeps giving.
Yeah. A couple stories. First of all, they have restarted the league after another weekend that they shut it down. They're talking about there was an article in The Guardian about, it was a really in-depth article about how it's in crisis. Evangelo Marinakis, sorry, I was practicing that name.
We just give Steve this section because we want him to read out all these names.
I was practicing this name all day long.
I believe it's pronounced Marinakis.
Marinakis.
Yeah,
he's
with
owner.
His wife going Marinakis, just screaming that name out.
He was owner of Olympiacos. But he's Olympiacos, and he's also owner of Nottingham Forest. You can see how much I pay attention to Greek soccer.
I didn't actually know he owned Notts Forest.
Yeah, he just bought it this past summer. So, and he's now being investigated for drug trafficking. But the actual owner that the started all this, owner of PAOK, Ivan Savidis, has been banned for 3 years now because he walked on the field with a gun, remember, against the ref.
How can you forget that?
He's been fined 100,000 euros, which probably isn't that big of a deal for him. And then the club was docked 3 points. Still could be under appeal, but that's essentially what it is. And they've restarted everything.
But how many designated players can they
have? Another in-depth article, we talked about the LA Galaxy LAFC. Bleacher Report had a pretty extensive article about, and the headline was Welcome to the LA Soccer War, a tale of celebrities, money, and the Black Army. Really went in depth about how everything's working out.
Yeah.
Some quick hits. New Cold War threatens to spill over to the soccer world. Iceland now will not send their leaders to Russia.
Is that why it's the Cold War?
I guess so. Following England. Also joining them looks like will be Poland, Denmark, Sweden, Australia, and Japan. So there might be more countries later on.
Well, there's been all the diplomats expelled this week.
Yeah.
And Russia, there was an article in the BBC that I just read yesterday saying that this is all a conspiracy by the West because they want to take the World Cup away from Russia.
Well, that's not going to happen now.
I know a country that could host in Europe if it's needed. Just let me know.
Or we could.
No, we could not.
No, just us, the three of us.
UEFA, actually, this is pretty big news, seems like. UEFA to ease Champions League rules on January signings. You can now register up to 3 new players without any restrictions.
Mm-hmm. No more cup tie.
Yeah, exactly. And
that
up
sucks.
to only 3, though. But if you're heading to World Cup 2018, you need a fan ID.
Yes.
For the first time ever. I don't know what it is, but
I would also recommend travel insurance.
Yeah.
So this is really going to hurt.
Life insurance would help too.
This is going to hurt. I think you might see on TV, this is going to hurt the attendance at games. Because like when I went to the World Cup in 2000, I know it was different in the States when you went, Michael, but when I went to the 2006 World Cup, I remember before we left, we had gotten some tickets already, but I remember before we left, I remember what's that guy's name? Jerry Dobson, retired.
Yeah.
The late great Jerry Dobson, saying on the joint broadcast with TSN and Sportsnet, saying that they're checking 50 to 100 IDs per stadium before each game. And I thought, okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Because you're supposed to have ID or passport with you.
Yeah.
Because I went and I bought tickets. From I made a friend, a guy I went to a few games with. Actually, I went to three matches with him. Yeah, 3 matches. I think or 2 for sure, and then we met him at another one where I just bought. But how should I put this? His home city was where one of the teams was based, and so their FA was selling tickets. And so my ticket has the name of a person from that country on it. So when I was
your ID wouldn't match.
So when I was going through the turnstile, I remember hearing when I was about to go through the turnstile, I remember hearing someone say, "Can I see your ID?" And my heart just started to beat really fast. And it was the turnstile next to mine.
Oh.
And so the guy was generous because he said I could pay inside the stadium, like once we got through. So, but this is because FIFA has been printing names on tickets. Now they also have been providing resale of tickets at the actual value.
Yeah.
So that's been helpful because that's how I got some tickets for that World Cup as well. But I think you'll see less. I think you'll see a little bit more empty seats in stadiums.
It does make sense though. Because all the hooliganism that is likely to happen this summer. But when you look at, like, if you go to a game at CenturyLink, whether it's like MLS or whether it's NFL, it's a nightmare getting in there because they're checking ID, they're checking bags, they're checking tons of stuff.
Actually, if you're with the away supporters, you just come really early. It's actually pretty smooth now, but...
Okay, so talking about the World Cup that's coming up, referee, they announced the referee list.
Yeah.
There are some countries that are currently using video review. This was the essential gist of the article. There's countries that are using video review, but they're not bringing referees from those leagues into the World Cup. Like for example, they are bringing referees from Germany, Italy, Poland, and the U.S., but they're not bringing referees from Australia, Belgium, Portugal, and South Korea who use VAR.
2 MLS refs are going.
They're going to get Geigered.
You're going to be shocked. Ismail Elfath was not one of them.
No.
But Geiger is one.
Yeah, I was really hoping Elfath was going to disappear for a month.
We have that banner, the Geiger reader, Geiger counter, yeah.
Just missing the O.
Panini stickers.
Yes.
There's some numbers.
But yes.
This is numbers. This is a math.
It has the O.
But this is a mathematician that calculated how much it cost. Now, what you need to do if you want to fill up the
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
it's a 682 sticker album.
Yes.
They're estimating that you need to it's going to be 967 packets that you have to buy.
Yep.
At 80 pence.
Yep.
This is all
English
UK,
money.
Yeah. Now, in order to complete your 682 sticker album, you need 4,832 stickers, like basically from those 967 packets. And then if you're doing swapping, like you say, 10 friends, they're estimating that it would cost $247 per person to spend.
Are you doing it?
See, I don't fully agree with it because the way that he worked it out.
How good are you at math?
I was pretty good.
Complicated math.
Yeah. The way that he's worked it out is right. But that is like the headline figure of it's going to cost you £700-800 worth is if you're buying packets of stickers.
Yeah.
Whereas the whole point of it is
trade.
You try and trade, but you can also buy
individual
full albums, or you can buy an album and the full set of stickers for $152 on a number of sites right
really?
now.
Oh, yeah. That's not like a box; it's the actual.
Yeah.
Well,
so I did that in the I did it in the 2010 World Cup.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the same because I missed opening the stickers. I didn't do it in 2014, and I haven't got an unfinished album. I'm probably just going to buy.
Hey, I still have an unfinished album. Could we connect?
Yeah,
on
well, we're actually going to launch something about that in next week's show.
Now, my question was going to be posed to you. How much do you think you would have to spend to fill out that Whitecaps sticker album from Shoppers?
Oh,
considering how many doubles were in the packs.
Hey, it was Pharmasave, not Shoppers.
Oh, Pharmasave.
Actually,
sorry.
We need to ask Ryan McLeod because he completed it and he told me how it was something like 78 packets of stickers or something.
$1 each?
Yeah,
that's.
Wow,
that's a lot.
I'm pretty sure it was.
No, that's less than what this is, though.
He must get paid a lot of that job of his.
He's not a fan of stickers. He prefers cards, and he doesn't see the appeal of stickers. I think the Whitecaps thing was a bad one to get him into to start off stickers.
When does this year's album come out?
April 10th.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Is he talking about the World Cup one?
No, I'm talking about the Whitecaps.
Oh, I don't know about the Whitecaps.
I don't think
the World Cup one's out in Canada on April 10th. It's out elsewhere in the world.
Now, speaking
the
of...
other thing, though, they've done with the stickers this year, you started me on stickers, Steve.
I was going to say, Steve.
I should listen for the last
Hey,
time.
wait, this is his favorite thing to talk about.
Every other year, in Canada and America, you got 7 stickers in a packet. Elsewhere in the world, you got 5. Now, Canada and America is the same as the rest of the world, and you're only getting 5 stickers. So you do need more packets. And you get 50 packs in a box, so that's 250 stickers. So you need to buy 3 boxes, which is about $60 each, to actually just have enough stickers to fill the album.
And
they're going to have doubles and everything.
And also trade,
So that's why I'm thinking about just buying the pack that's got the thing. And this year, for an extra £20 or dollars, you can get a hardback sticker annual.
Oh, that's better.
I'll bring my sticker albums along next week.
The rate of doubles will be far lower than the Whitecaps Pharmacy one, though, right?
I would think so. Yeah. You're going to get more than white space.
Now, speaking
of
scams, Lazio kind of fell for one.
This is beautiful.
If you ever if you're one of the ones that fall for one email scam, you're not the only one. Lazio, a soccer team, a football club. They needed to send a final payment for Stefan de Vrij, who they bought from Dutch Feyenoord. Bought it from there. They received an email. And they sent the money, which was 1.75 million euros.
Yes.
To that. And now Feyenoord is saying that we never sent the email and we never received any money. So obviously we don't know if it's Nigerian princes that did this or...
It's easy done because the Whitecaps were caught out of themselves because they sent $1.75 for Francis de Vries. Right? That's gonna... Oh, glad you like that joke, Zach.
Okay, so...
This will sound great in the podcast.
World Cup 2026 news. Morocco is kind of causing a stir, or some people are causing a stir on their behalf, especially Russia.
Shock horror.
Yeah, Russia is dissing U.S. Mexican football heritage. They're basically saying that they're not that great. They haven't really done anything. And there's a split in Europe.
It says Russia that never perform when they're at the Euros or the World Cup.
They used to be good, but not anymore.
Why did they used to be good, Steve, like you were talking about last week?
CCCP.
Yeah. Russia, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Serbia look like they're backing Morocco at this point. And they're a lot of the Eastern countries that Russia has influence over, Morocco's hoping that they push that influence.
Is that due to proximity to Russia?
Probably.
See, told you, it's all connected.
Yeah.
You guys laughed at me.
I genuinely think Morocco's going to get it. And the news that came out this week that, like we're talking about the fan ID, that America's looking to have, that they want to go through social media history if you want to get a visa from certain countries. Like UK, Canada, stuff like that doesn't count. But they want your last 5 years email addresses. They want your logins to Facebook and to Twitter and to Instagram.
They have those.
And this is not an April Fool's joke. This was before April Fool's. So they're wanting that for a number of countries where you need to get a visa. So if we were to get the 2026 World Cup, fans wanting to travel here, if this was in force, which I don't actually think it will come in, but because this threat is out there, this could really affect the bid. Genuinely concerned that we're not going to get it now.
Well, it's not coming to Vancouver.
Well, Morocco, they're kind of concerned too on a couple of points. We talked about last week that there's a panel that's going to judge Morocco, and essentially they need a minimum 2 out of 5 score in order to even bid. And Morocco's thinking that these guys are going to undercut them. Basically, the 2 out of 5 is based on infrastructure currently and their financial capability. So there's a concern there. But Morocco is touting that they have better gun safety than the U.S. and Mexico. Morocco says that they have 3 in 100,000 people killed by gun violence. Mexico is 18.7 out of 100,000. U.S. is 5.3 out of 100,000. Canada is the best out of all of them, 1.68. So they're really pushing that. Ticket sales... North America in their bid, the booklet or whatever that they the bid book that they published.
Yep,
they're touting that they will get $2.1 billion in ticket sales, while Morocco is estimating they will have $785 million. So that's a big difference there.
There's no doubt that a World Cup would make way more money here because of TV rights and ticket sales and everything like that.
Hang on, did you just say that basically the U.S. is going to charge triple the amount?
No, they think they could get more attendance. That's what they'll
have bigger stadiums.
The bigger stadiums.
Bigger stadiums.
They'll be.
A lot of the Morocco ones were like in the 40,000 mark.
And Morocco feels that the majority of their things are going to be in the 90% average, except for the semifinals and the finals, which they think is going to be sold out, and the opening game obviously sold out.
I haven't looked at the recent ones, but in 2006, the ticket prices actually were reasonable. It was just ability to get them.
And there's local prices too for local residents as well. So the people will not have to pay that exorbitant
The infrastructure thing might be a crippling thing, but when I read the Morocco bid document, they've got great plans, and it's a smaller country. They've already got infrastructure there. They've got the roads, they've got the rails, they've got the camels.
Yeah, the North American bid, they have they mentioned that they were going to have 3 games in one day.
On the opening day,
yeah.
Simultaneously, I think I read.
No, I thought it was a little bit. You can't do that. I think it'll be kind of like broken up, obviously, with like an hour break between each game. And they can do that because there's a lot of time zones too.
I read simultaneously.
A lot of time zones, so you can easily spread it out from east to west.
Anyway, some good headlines this week. So check out those and a lot more on bcsoccerweb.com. But that is it for our special Easter edition of the AFTN Soccer Show. I hope you all feel in the Easter spirit after this.
It feels like we went from Good Friday to Easter. It's been a long show.
It was a good Friday. It was an even better Saturday. And when you've got us on a Sunday, it's a fantastic Sunday. What will Monday bring? What will next week bring? Let's hope it's a Whitecaps victory in Salt Lake next Friday. Until then, just before we go, let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at WhitecapsB, and eventually downloading the preview podcast as well.
For me, it's at Zachary AM on Twitter, and I'm part of the Movement Curva Collective.
I'm Michael McCaw. You can find me on Twitter at AFTN Canada, on Instagram at AFTN Soccer. Still locked out of that. I need to get myself back into that. So if you've sent any messages or stuff on that, apologies. Read all our stuff away from the numbers, aftn.ca. Got a lot of stuff coming up on the site this week. We're going to have our Alphonso Davies piece. We're going to have, I might type up the chat we had with Jose Aja last week as well. And as I mentioned, watch out on Tuesday for the full roster reveal of TSS Rovers, men's side, on Wednesday for the TSS Rovers' first ever women's score. So check that out on aftn.ca. But anyway, thank you for listening as always. Enjoy your long weekend. We'll be back next weekend, and we'll be back on Thursday, maybe even Wednesday night because it's a Friday game with the preview podcast. The guys are doing an excellent job on that. So until next time, thanks for listening. Take care, and mon the Caps.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.
E